What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host that just took a 2-week long break, but you wouldn't know anything about that, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/ProRevenge. Alright, this story's called, Don't Want to Fix My IT Issue? Well, I think it's time for a new CTO. Certified Technical Officer. Or Chief Technical Officer, right? I don't know. I just want to state that this IT issue is going to blow some people's freaking mind. The security flaw that this presented was nothing short of incredible. And the fact that we never had a major security breach is astounding. It truly is. The flaw, you may ask. Everyone in the entire company's password was the same password. Yes, folks, you read that right. Every single password to every single employee login was the same password. It was like this before I joined the company and for quite a few years after. Until, well, enjoy the story. Now, what about the username? That must have been the trick, right? Oh yeah, that was a trick. The username was the employee email address. I did point out this flaw to my management, and their response was, "That's not our area to be concerned about." So whatever, it paid well, I'll do my job. And then, one day, we had a Windows update which caused a piece of software I used at work to break. I submitted a help ticket, and after escalating this issue, I got to the CTO. It wasn't a huge company. The CTO said, "I don't want to spend the time fixing this. Use this workaround." To which I pointed out the workaround slows things down, which makes my job harder, and this Windows update has to affect more than just me. I was told to suck it up. Now, at the time, the CEO was the son of the founder, and a bit of a love wit. I legit feel at this point in time, he was just collecting a paycheck and letting everything run on auto and didn't pay attention. Guys, as much as that sounds like a good idea, and it sounds like the best thing ever, but no machine is that well oiled. But I was mad at the CTO for brushing me off, so I penned an email to the CEO. It was a short email. I simply said, "I discovered a massive security flaw that could potentially expose us to huge liabilities. When would be a good time to discuss this?" The response? "What security flaw?" I decided to demonstrate the flaw. I picked 2 random salespeople. I didn't know them. I got their username and I logged into their systems. And I pulled 2 random customers' personal information. The kind of information that would have easily allowed me to commit identity fraud. Pull out credit cards in their name, etc. All kinds of bad stuff. I emailed the CEO and I explained, "Anyone who knows the URL to log into our system can log into anyone's accounts, pull up customers' information, and everyone has the same password." To prove this, I logged into 2 employees' random accounts, and I pulled 2 different customers' profiles and I've attached them. One single disgruntled employee could screw us over. 25 minutes later, my phone rings. It was the CEO. He was very nice, very interested in how I did this. This guy isn't the sharpest knife in the drawer. And I pointed out the flaw in plain English, and the liability that it presents to him. I walked him through the process of hacking my own account, as he called it. I'd hate to call it hacking because it was so easy. Now it dawned on this CEO that this liability was huge. I pointed out again in our conversation, a single upset employee could destroy us. The fact that it hadn't happened already is nothing short of a miracle. Hold up, I'm gonna drink some apple juice real quick. I drank some apple juice. It's pretty good. I mean, not amazing. Apple juice isn't even that good. Unless it's like, okay, specific brands. The apple juice I got isn't that good. Okay, let's read. I get told they want me to present this to the executive team so they can discuss a solution. Honestly, the solution is frickin' obvious. So a day later, we have the conference call. It's the CEO, the CTO, the COO, the CFO, the company lawyer, the senior VP, etc. etc. And on the call, I demonstrate the flaw and I lay out how I, as a person with very little IT background, is able to figure this out. It's incredible that we have this flaw. Everyone is in agreement that it is a huge issue, except the CTO. The CTO gets very upset with me, and he wants me fired for hacking the system. He says that per our employee handbook, what I did was a fireable offense. I point out that I'm not abusing this loophole, and I'm only doing it to expose the flaw because I care about the company, and I think this is something that needs to be brought forward. I point out that a former disgruntled employee could log into an account and steal customers' personal information, and if that were traced back to us, the liability would be huge. I could tell our corporate attorney agreed with me and was shocked at what I was demonstrating. The CTO pointed out that former employees' usernames are disabled, to which I pointed out every employee username is their email address. It would be trivial for a former disgruntled employee to use a different employee email address that they remember to log in. And since everyone's password is the same, they don't even have to guess. The CTO points out that we would know who did it because of the IP address. I pointed out that VPNs are indeed a thing. The corporate attorney actually wasn't familiar with what VPNs do, and I explained it. And what shocked me is the whole time, the only person in the meeting who didn't agree this flaw needs to be changed was the CTO. The CEO made it clear that this issue would be fixed by the end of business that day, and there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The meeting ended. After the meeting, the CTO called me privately. He was pissed. I just exposed his incompetence because the system was his design. The decision for everyone to have the same password was his decision, and I know why he did it. He did it because he was freaking lazy. And I said to the CTO, "You're a crappy CTO. You shouldn't be in the position you are, and you're lazy. You should have found a better solution for my help ticket." He stops and asks, "So this is about your stupid help ticket?" I go, Yes it is." He laughs and says he's gonna have me fired, and I laugh and go, "I'm pretty sure someone is getting fired. I'm also super confident that's not going to be me." Well, sure enough, later that day, we got an email stating that everyone was to change their passwords to something unique. If everyone changed their password to something unique, we are back in square one. Idiot CEO. A week later, the CEO announced the old CTO stepped down to spend some more time with his family. On the first day of the new CTO's tenure, he sent me an email telling me he wanted to personally work on my help ticket and find a solution around the Windows update, which I'm pleased to say he did. And I later had conversations with our attorney at a meeting. We legit never had a security breach, which is simply astounding. The attorney admitted that was just plain dumb luck on our part, and if we would have had a security breach, it would have been very bad for us. Damn, bro, they should freaking just give you the company at that point. There would be no company if you hadn't, fixed it, probably. I mean, eventually there wouldn't be a company. I don't know. They should give you buku bucks, baby. But anyway, the CTO thing, I get the dude. I get it. It's cool not having to do things. However, when it's someone else's liability, i.e. your company, you should probably not just... Honestly, he didn't even cut corners. He just avoided corners altogether. He's like, "The road's straight, guys. Just the road's straight. We're good." "What are you talking about, man? We've been driving on dirt for 3 hours. We missed our turn." He's like, "No, the road is straight. Everything's good. No turning." This guy would dig entire new straight roads if he wasn't lazy. All right, this story's called How I Got Our Translator Fired. I was working a job that had me operating in one of our offices overseas. We would have business expenses, and those receipts would be in the language of the country we were in, obviously. Those expenses were for things like printer ink, office equipment, cleaning services, marketing costs, all pretty standard stuff. Well, around this time, we got a new vice president over our region who worked out of a head office in LA. This vice president came up with this brilliant idea to hire a translator to translate all of the receipts to make sure we weren't sneaking in bullcrap. Fair enough. However, the issue that arose was that we had to send our expenses to the translator who would translate the receipt, then submit them for reimbursement. The problem was, this translator was a real Karen type. She would demand better scans of the receipts, oftentimes after we had already thrown it away. She would argue if we really got the best deal on whatever we bought. I remember in one transaction on about $200 of ink cartridges, she asked me why I didn't order online from this common website, to which I said they were out of stock at the time, and we needed the ink, so we bought them from a local store. To which she said I was spending too much money, to which I said it's none of your concern. Your job is to translate the receipt. To which she said if I want her to submit my expenses, I need to be nice to her. To which I said she needs to learn her place. She's a translator, not a vice president that gets to instruct me on what to do. After this encounter, she started being extra anal with my expenses, so one day I came into the office early to call her and try and work things out. She basically told me that I screwed up by pissing her off, and she expected my expense reports to be perfect, or she wouldn't submit them unless they were. I told her if she keeps this up, she won't have a job much longer. She laughed and wished me well and hung up. A few months later, we had our annual meeting in LA, and after the meeting, we were at a bar, and I walked up to our vice president and started up a conversation. I steered the conversation to expenses, and I asked him how much in monthly expenses did he typically reimburse us for in the country we worked out of. He said about $3,000 to $4,000. I acted surprised and asked, "Is that all?" He goes, "Yeah." To clarify, that $3,000 to $4,000 is the typical spend, and he says, yeah, it rarely gets above $4,000. So I ask him about how Karen, our translator, is doing. He says she's doing a good job, and I nod my head and I go, how much fraudulent expenses has she got? It's important to note, every employee that was submitting expenses was well paid. They'd be awfully stupid trying to skim some extra dollars via fraudulent expense reports. He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I mean, you hired her to ensure that all the expenses you were reimbursing us for are legitimate, right? Her job is to translate them for you, correct?" He says it is, and I ask, so is it safe to presume you've done that to ensure people aren't submitting BS expenses? He says, "You could say that." I smile and ask, so how much in fraudulent expenses has she caught? He thinks for a moment and goes, I don't think she has caught any. So I ask, and how much do we pay her? He says it depends on her workload, but between $2,500 to $3,000 a month. I smile and ask, does it make sense to pay someone $3,000 a month to translate $3,000 in receipts? Well, she ensures we aren't getting fraudulent expenses. And I counter, well, you said she hasn't caught any in the last 9 months, and the expenses are always between $3,000 to $4,000, so as long as the expenses stay in that range, wouldn't it be safe to assume that the expenses are legitimate? And couldn't you bring on a translator on a contract basis if they get out of hand? He sees my point. And imagine the cost savings. We would probably save over $40,000 a year. That's a good chunk of change, isn't it? Vice President tried to defend his position, but she does a good job. And I counter, but you could frame this as you saved us $40,000 a year and created a baseline to judge expenses by. Cutting costs is always good for the bottom line and the end of the year bonuses, isn't it? For your information, I knew that a major percentage of a VP's comp package with the company had to do with the company's margin at the end of the year. The bigger the margin, the bigger the bonus. You can see the twinkle in his eye. We carry on the rest of the night. denied. A few weeks later, we get an email from the VP saying that we are to submit all our expenses directly to the admin for reimbursement and that we have let go of Karen. FYI, Karen wasn't her real name, obviously. Okay. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this one because, I mean, she was just trying to do her job, right? I mean, she was being a jerk about it, which, you know, that could have had something done about it. But I feel bad because, I mean, vice president guy gets the big bucks, right? Karen lady, she doesn't now. Just because she was being annoying, she lost her job. Now, I'm not sure. I don't 100% like this one. It feels a little bit icky if I'm being real, but I can't understand. All right, this story's called Trying to Take Me Home? Better make sure I am who you think. Unsure if this counts as ProRevenge, but I like to think so, on behalf of catcalling victims everywhere. Ooh. All right, so to understand the story, you have to understand a few things about me. I am a 19-year-old guy, bi, with a boyfriend. I'm often told I have a very feminine body. I've posted in the femboy sub here and there with positive response. But this is a throwaway and I'm not gonna link anything for privacy reasons. I was out on a date a few weeks ago with my boyfriend, who I'll refer to as Alex, 20. For storytelling's sake, I'll go by Liam. We had just finished a movie date and decided to roam the dark streets of nightly New York City afterwards, just to chat and spend time together, as we don't live together. It's important to note that I was dressed up, like a girl. I'm talking a crop top and skirt, plus some thigh highs. Come for me all you want. I like to feel pretty. Oh, my butt fell off. I was waiting outside the convenience store while Alex grabbed some snacks when a tall man, early 20s, dressed like your local dealer, walked up to me and tried to act sexy. I'll refer to him as Creep. "What's up, baby? You know you shouldn't be out here so late, all alone." I said nothing. "Now, come on, babe. When a man speaks to you, you respond. How about we go back to my place?" Now, here's something I haven't mentioned. I have a high-ish voice, still masculine, but enough to where, if I try, I can muster up a good female voice. So I do. Should I do it? Yeah, I'm gonna do it. No, not interested. Come on, I don't bite. I just want to have a little fun. He got closer. I shook my head. At this point, Alex comes out with a bag of our snacks and notices the scene. "Everything all right, babe?" Babe? What, you with this loser? Come on, let me show you what a real man can do for you. He put his hand on my hip and Alex started to walk forward, but I signaled for him to stay back. I had a plan. I put my hand on Creep's, then wrapped his arm around me and cuddled into his chest. He smelled like cigarettes, disappointed parents, and failed dreams. I look up at him, still in my girl voice. "Oh, him? Don't mind him. If you want me?" Then I switched to my normal voice. "Then you can have me." Immediately, he pushed me into Alex's arms and storms off, yelling obscenities mixed with a few homophobic slurs here and there, plus some transphobia tossed in for good measure. Me and Alex both go into hysterical laughter, nearly falling over each other. Once we calm down, he looks to me. "You're really a butthole. You gotta stop doing that to guys," he chuckled. Hey, they all approached me. Okay, first of all, don't be like Creep, alright? That's so creepy. I was creeped out. Do be like OP. That's really funny. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.